Peace and blessings. This is Moon Goddess Ambrosia, the Fifth Fourth Oracle, Kin 181, the Rare Crystal Dragon, and I dedicate my heart in order to nurture, universalizing being. I seal the input of birth with the crystal tone of cooperation. I am guided by the power of space. Ashe, Ashe, and Ashe-yo. And I am thankful and grateful to be here again sharing the Cosmic Oracle reading of Evolution, which is one of the readings that I offer through Moon Goddess and the Healing Arts. And I am definitely thankful for High Priestess and the Mimic community, as well as the Mimic priesthood, for holding space for me to come on here to share the Cosmic Oracle readings. I'm also thankful for the priesthood, as I am also a priestess initiative or initiate. I'm going through the process of becoming a priestess of Mimic, and so I'm thankful for everything that I have been learning and practicing that has helped me to be who I am right here in this moment as I share the oracle reading. Definitely love the community that's being built through Mimic as a whole. So much love and gratitude to all of you here as well, um, for being here with me on this journey as we are collectively evolving together, even though we may be going through our own personal evolutions. And so I'm definitely thankful to be here, a part of the space. Um, I have a couple of shout outs that I would like to throw in as well, specifically towards Priestess Moot Nefer. And I say that because in one of our previous meetings, she has shared something with us that really has stuck out for me and has inspired the way that I'm showing up here today in providing the oracle reading. And basically, what was shared was, and I'm going to paraphrase it, kind of going to do it a little Medea style. But basically, what I took from it was to shift my mindset out of trying to go so hard in teaching the cosmology and being able to serve through the knowledge and the wisdom that I've gained through the cosmology. When she had shared that, that really like transformed my mind. I was like, you know what? I do get into teacher mode, kind of kind of quick sometimes, or I could get lost in teacher mode. So I'm here to try something new, or try from a different, try with a different mindset now. So gratitude to Kim 178 for dropping those gems on me. And also shout out to Brother Akil for always bringing us in to the sessions, bringing in new perspectives for us and myself as well. And I definitely want to shout him out because I had reached out to him a while back about one of my oracle readings. And what had came up was a question which also added, to the new insights of how I'm sharing it today. And the question was, like, how do I know what direction to go in when I shared the oracle readings? And my response was, I just use my personal experiences with the oracle reading to find a way to make it relatable for others. And so, along with the insights that I received from Priestess Moot Nefer, both of those has helped me to be intentional or be in a different mindset as I'm sharing the oracle readings. And so with that, I am definitely looking forward to getting into the oracle reading for us. I feel like it was something else. Oh, I wanted to shout out High Priestess for curating the 52 laws of unity. Oh my gosh. If I want to encourage y'all to tap into that if you have not already. I've definitely been receiving some beautiful experiences by doing so. So thank you, High Priestess, for all that you do as well, all across the boards. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and get into this oracle reading by inviting you all to join me in looking at the oracle reading from the perspective or the mindset of a synchronaut. And so a synchronaut is, had a whole little moment, 1 second here. Okay, so the mindset of a synchronaut states that we are living expressions of divine synergy in motion. So that means that the life force energy within our body is what's that life force energy is the divine synergy in motion that lives within us, that helps us to be alive as the living expression of the divine source. And so through us going through that remembrance or embodiment, it also activates our remembrance of our divine purpose. And by remembering our purpose, we're now in a position, or it enable us to consciously create and fulfill our soul's mission in all spaces of time. So I want to invite you to see yourself as a synchronaut. Think about how your life force that uh, is like the astronaut or the driver in the car. It's the thing that's fueling your body to take action. So your body would be like the car or the spaceship. And so just look at it from that perspective, and I'm sure that it can help make a lot more sense with the way that I explain the oracle reading. And so, with seeing ourselves as that energetic consciousness life force inside of our body, we have the Oracle board or the Destiny Kin Oracle board to assist us in seeing how to bring our energy into in alignment with one another or with each aspects of our being. And so the Destiny Kin Oracle provides us with a fifth dimensional template for sustaining our cosmic synergy. So that cosmic synergy is bringing all of that divine energy into alignment as multidimensional beings. So that includes our physical body, that includes our soul, that includes our emotions, that includes our mental body, and it includes our spiritual body as well. And so when we bring all of those 5 elements into that synergy, that helps us to operate as our whole, operate in our wholeness or in our whole being. We're not just focusing on just being a physical body or just being the soul or being the emotions. We're all of those things. And so by putting all of that together, we get to radiate our energy throughout Earth and throughout the entire universe. And that's how we can shift our experiences, our personal experiences, and our collective experiences as well. And so here on the Oracle board, I'm not sure if I mentioned it already. I might have been speaking too fast. But here on the Oracle board, it has the template for all of the 20 archetypes. And so being that we are on Kin 124, which is a white wizard, we can see that that's being reflected on the Oracle board of how we have the red serpent in the physical body on the right. So the physical body represents our car. So just remember that. We have down below in the emotional body the blue hand that corresponds to the energies and motion being the fuel that motivates our physical body to take action. It's the energy inside of us that animates our body. And so that is the emotional body. So again, that's like the gas in our car. Over on the left, we have the mental body. And for Kin 124, we have the yellow seed there. And so just the position of the mental body, that holds that position to help us to overcome different obstacles or different challenges that we may experience by strengthening our mindset. And so using the car analogy is just like when you're driving down a road and you may have to take a detour, or you might have to take a back road. You may encounter different obstacles, and you got to, get into the logic of things, use your logical mind. So the kin that sits in that position has an influence on how to operate from the mental body in overcoming those different challenges. And in the above position, that is known as the spirit guide. And so one thing that I'll mention about the spirit guide is that when you're looking at the oracle board, you will see that those are blank. All of the other four kin below, that will always be the same for that particular archetype. So it'll always be the same for the white wizard. However, when it comes to the spirit guide, the archetype that's sitting in the spirit guide position, that would depend on the galactic tone of the archetype. And so with us being on the rhythmic tone, we also have the white wizard that's sitting in the spirit guide position as well. And so when it comes to the spirit guide kin, or that position, that is, or the spirit guide acts as like the GPS in our car, or the GPS that we're using to guide us towards, the direction that we want to flow in our energy, the decisions that we're making and things like that. That's the way that, that's the GPS. That's the path that we want to go, or the direction that we want to go. And so, that is pretty much it about the oracle board itself. And so I want to talk about specifically um, the the white rhythmic wizard, which is a part of the red moon wave spell. And so going back to the synchronized mindset, also a part of the synchronized mindset is completing and fulfilling our soul's mission. So with the red moon wave spell, or I'll say with the wave spells in itself, I look at each wave spell as a mission to accomplish. So, say you getting in the car, it's like, okay, what is your mission? Like, you get your first assignment. Okay, the assignment of the red moon wave spell is to tap into the power of universal water, which purifies the flow, which purifies flow to nurture to nurture the birth of being. And so that is the mission, is to purify the flow to nurture the birth of being. And so to go into some more detail about the mission, the universal water, I look at that as the collective energy that's within us and around us. So that is the universal water. And the mission is to purify the flow of it. So it always starts within ourselves first. So when we purify the flow of the energy inside of us, that is referring to purifying our life force energy that's flowing through our emotions, or that's influencing our emotions, our mental, our physical, all of those things. So when we purify the flow of the energy that's moving through us, we then move towards nurturing the birth of who we are. So it also works in the reverse. If you look towards the end of the wave spell, the goal is to nurture the birth of who you are. In order to do that, you got to purify the flow of your own energy. And so that is the mission of this wave spell. And so when it comes to Kin 214, that is the sixth archetype or the sixth kin of the wave spell, of the red moon wave spell. And so we can break down to see how, see what the energy focus is for the white rhythmic wizard by looking at the breakdown. So the white refers to, well, within the cosmology, it says humility refines meditation. I personally like the word being unpretentious. So we're going to unpretentiously refine our meditation. This is just saying that we're going to be, real grounded with ourselves. We're not going to lead from ego and all of those things. We're going to really just be opening our hearts and spirit to refine the way that we're meditating on the knowledge that we have and that we come into. And so jumping down to the solar seal / the archetype, the wizard has the same name for the solar seal and the archetype. So it's also known as the wizard. And this is the creative power of timelessness, which enchants receptivity. So this means that when we allow ourselves to come into the power of our timelessness, we're operating outside of time. Like we're not even, worrying about time. Like even though we may be mindful of time, we're not allowing time to intimidate us. And I love when High Priestess and Neptaharka reminds us that Baba Wanik breaks down time or intimidation as time and in dates. So when we operate outside of the intimidation of time, that opens us up to enchant that receptivity of receiving new insights, new inspirations. And I like how High Priestess says it's the receiving new activities. So we come into that receptivity to, again, go back to refining the way that we meditate on the knowledge that we receive. And so that is the creative power of the white wizard. And the galactic tone refers to the vibration, the frequency that the energy moves in. So the rhythmic tone is the movement of organizing equality and balancing. So it's like getting organized so that we can even out the playing fields. It reminds me of a bridge. For something to be equal, you're going to have to separate out the parts. You got to get things organized, and that's what's going to create that balance. And so this is the focus that we're sitting in on today, with the white rhythmic wizard. And so I have a remix to the affirmation. And so just join me in reading this as I break this down for us so that we can see how Kin 214 is integrated within the Red Moon Wave spell. And so I have it stated here. I organize my universal water in order to enchant. So we are organizing the way that we purify the flow of the energy that's moving within us and around us in order to enchant. And so what are we enchanting? We are enchanting the purpose of our birth. We are enchanting the nurturing of our being by organizing the energy that's within us and around us. By balancing receptivity. So let me pause real quick before I talk about the balancing receptivity. I just want to make sure we got the first part of this locked into our minds. So through my insights of meditating on the red moon wave spell, I understand, what helps me first is looking at it from my life force energy within myself, or the energies that's moving within me that I know to be as my life force. So when I get organized with purifying the flow of my life force energy, that puts me in a position to be open to enchant the natural nature of who I am. So for example, for example, as I was preparing the slides and everything, going through my whole day, I had reached a point where I started to get kind of loopy in my mind. Like, I wasn't thinking as clearly. So I was like, okay, let me check my life first. Let me, really ground my energy. And once I did that, once I got my energy more organized, I was able to get myself back into alignment to, make sure that I get the recording done and, go to my meetings and other things like that. So that helped me to get in balance with my receptivity, getting my energy right so I can receive the insights to share the oracle reading and, to do everything else. And so here the next line says, I seal my expressed output of timelessness with the rhythmic tone of equality. So as I was preparing, so for example, as I was preparing to do the oracle reading, I had to really sit in that timelessness. I had to stop worrying about the time, because that was one of the things that had me feeling a little loopy. I'm like, oh snap, I gotta hurry up and do this. I got this, I gotta do that. And, starting to do this, feel like a chicken with his head off type of thing. So, I had to sit my butt down and sit in, in that timelessness, so I can bring equality to my own energy and my awareness or my mind and things, so I can, express the oracle reading, right? So last but not least, the last line states that I am guided by my own power of timelessness. So when you're reading the affirmations, if you see the line that says I'm guided by my own power, that also lets you know that what the archetype would be in the spirit guide position. So that is so that was just like a little gem or a reminder for you when you're reading the affirmations. And so basically, by us, um, and by us really taking that time or taking that moment to sit in timelessness, we're allowing that to guide us in being receptive. And so you'll see what that means more deeply as we get into the oracle reading. So I am going to go ahead and proceed forward. I feel like it was something I wanted to share here, but let me see, what was it? Oh, so quick, small little story. Okay, so as I've mentioned, I had to, get my energy organized, right? So the flow of my day went from work. I took some time out in nature. I did the 52 laws of unity focus. And then I took some time out to focus on my finances. Now, after that part, that's when I started to get a little loopy, right? So I took some time out in nature, had a phone call, and then I meditated on the kin so I can, get prepared for this plasma, do the slides and everything. And so what happened was that, I had started working on the slides, and then I had a meeting, and after that, I started to get a little tired, and, I felt like I couldn't think straight. And so it had gotten to the point where I had to step away to meditate on the kin. And the reason why I did that is because, one, I know that it works. Okay. So trust me on this. It helped me to get back grounded in my focus. And then, the direction and how I wanted to go with sharing the oracle reading made a whole lot more sense. And so basically, I'm sharing this with you so that you can see how the oracle reading is, how this oracle reading really acts as a tool to help us to get grounded and to get our energy back in alignment so that we can focus. And it's, because I know that we can get so busy moving from one thing to another, due to the rush of time, that sometimes we neglect to nurture ourselves. And so basically, I'm using that as my reflection to show you how I use the oracle reading to bring balance to my life force and, get my mind back in alignment. Okay. So just wanted to share that quick story with you real quick. And so with that, I have a one-line statement to help us hold the focus for the White Rhythmic Wizard. And it states that I am, you are, we are balancing our receptivity to enchant the timelessness of our purified flow. And so I'm going to read it with the I am statement. I am balancing my receptivity to enchant the timelessness of my purified flow. Okay. And so that is the focus for us on this plasma. And I have two additional questions that I would like to invite you to meditate on as we go through the oracle reading. And so the first one says, how can I be receptive to purifying the timeless flow of my life force energy? How can you be receptive to purifying that flow, that timeless flow? You know, it's just like a river. You know, time is not rushing the river. You know what I'm saying? The river is flowing at its own at its own pace. So it's the same thing with you. How can you flow at your own pace? You know, how can you purify, what's going on around you, how you're thinking, your emotions, how can you purify those things so that you can flow naturally, so your energy can flow naturally. The second question, how can I balance and equalize my life force energy and my awareness? Now, honestly, this might be my favorite part, my favorite question. Because just think about it. When you're grounded in your physical energy, have you found that, you're able to think more clearly, like you're able to focus better? Um, we can even think about the flip side. If you feel real anxious, or you feel like a lot of energy is going on with inside of you, sometimes that could also throw off your focus or your awareness. So it brings us back to the question, how can I balance and equalize, bring the equality of your life force energy and your awareness? And so, whichever question stands out for you, you can use that as your guiding force as we go through the oracle reading itself. All right, so let's go ahead and jump right on into it. So the main frequency or the vibration that we're focusing on is organizing equality so that we can bring ourselves or create balance in our lives. And so we can do this by enchanting the timelessness to balance that receptivity. Because remember, that is the kin that we're focusing on today. And we're also being guided to do that. We're being guided to enchant that timelessness. And so I want to encourage you to focus on, I'll say this. Stop focusing on the times and the dates of when you got to do certain things. It's great to be mindful of the time, but know that it's okay to set it aside for a moment so that you can, get yourself straight, so that you can get focused, so you can utilize your time wisely. And so when you sit in that timelessness, it allows you to bring your physical body and your mind into alignment so that you can operate from that balanced flow. Okay. So I want to encourage you to really take that time out for take I really want you to take the space for you to sit in timelessness. There we go. That's how I'll say it. And so allow that to guide you in being receptive towards purifying the flow of your energy. I do want to jump down to the emotional body, where we have the blue galactic hand. And so I'm jumping down to the emotional body because we already have our focus. We know what direction we want to go in. Now we got to motivate ourselves and get some gas in our car. So we're going to get this gas from reflecting on the blue galactic hand. So by knowing what you want to accomplish, you also gotta allow yourself to model the healing or model being in that whole state of being. So as you're enchanting that receptivity, focus on being in your whole state of being. Focus on embodying the knowledge for or receiving the knowledge so that you can accomplish your goals. And so, for example, when it came to me making the slides, I was like, okay, let me sit my butt down because I got this goal and I need to model this healing right here and right now. You know what I'm saying? And that's the divine synchronicity of it all. I naturally, felt called to, you know, reflect on the oracle so I can bring myself back into that whole state. And so, divinely, I was sitting there modeling the healing so I can bring back that receptivity of knowing what I want to focus on accomplishing. So I encourage you to do that too when you're sitting in that timelessness. Think about what it is that you want to accomplish without worrying about time, and allow yourself to be receptive of how you can purify your energy so that you can model and operate in that whole state. And so for myself, for example, what I needed to do was to sit down and breathe, let my body and my mind rest for a second, so that helped me to get back to that whole state. And so moving to the mental body, we have the yellow rhythmic seed sitting there, which is again the mental body that's helping us to overcome different challenges through strengthening our mind. So the challenge is focusing on, or I'll say balancing that awareness, um, so that you could be aware of the target that you want to bloom. So the target is whatever it is that you seek to accomplish. So the target was, for me, was to, get these slides done or to do the recording. So I had to overcome that challenge by bringing balance to my mental awareness. I had to sit, relax my body so that awareness can come back in again, so I could be receptive to the insights. And so throughout this plasma, if you find yourself going through any challenges with staying in alignment with divine source guiding you, just take a moment to breathe, welcome in the insight so that you could bring your mind back into balance, so you can focus on your goal. Okay, so that is the mental body. And then last but not least, on the right, the physical body, we have the red rhythmic serpent. And again, the physical body is supporting all of the energy of our emotions, our mind, our spirit, and our soul, so that it can be reflected through the way that we show up and move in our physical body. And so with the red rhythmic serpent, it's encouraging us to focus on thriving in our life force. So it also goes back to everything else that I was saying, because there are different ways that you can connect with the kin of the focus. It doesn't have to go in the same order that I just explained it. You can actually start here from the physical body by reminding yourself that, you want to thrive with your life force energy. And so in order to do that, you have to bring balance to trusting your instincts, being aware of your instincts. So like if you start to find yourself feeling physically jittery or sleepy, or, your mind, you just don't feel right in the body, that's an indicator that you got to bring some balance to your life force energy. So don't bypass it. Don't what I'll say, don't ignore it, don't bypass it, and really look at how you can nurture bringing back balance in your physical body. And then you could go back and connect with any of the other archetypes within the Destiny Oracle to bring yourself back into that whole state. And so one thing that I'll say too, when it comes to the healing, I love how it's being reframed to that because I want us to get out of the mindset that we're always having to heal through something. It's not always the case. Like, yeah, it'll be different things that could pop up. However, we don't have to keep going through this process of healing and healing and healing. We can really, commit ourselves to being in that whole state. And so I had found this quote that aligns very well to help remind us of that. And it says, healing is not about becoming a new person. It is about being who you were always meant to be. So it goes back to the whole focus. You were born here with a certain life force energy, your kin number, your destiny oracle. That's who you came here to be and to embody. Now, what we're purifying, or we're enchanting the receptivity of the new insights about ourselves, is opening that door for us to see the things that's not in alignment with the pureness of our soul. So all of that external energy that's not really benefiting us and evolving, that is the stuff that we're meant to purify, so that we could come back to alignment to who we were always meant to be. And so just wanted to share that tidbit before I close out, and just remind us that, when we bring all of this energy together, it also helps us to balance how aware we are, um, so that we can, get these illusions organized. And we can organize these illusions by tapping into our power of self-generation. And so Kin 214 helps us to, tap into that ability. So not only do we organize the illusions that's around us, we also are organizing the illusions that we embody. Or I'll say it like this: our physical appearance is an illusion. The true essence of who we are is based on how we is based on our life force. And so our life force is what's animating our physical illusion. Okay, so when we generate and catalyze the energy of our life force, we then, can shift the way that we appear to others, through our words, through our actions, and all of those things. And so with that, I highly encourage you to enchant timeless receptivity, so you can operate in your whole state and nurture who you are and have came here to be. And so I love y'all. Stay peace, be light. In Lakesh Allah can. May that you enjoy your creation in every single moment of now. Feel free to reach out to me for your own personal oracle reading. And with that, I shall talk to y'all later. Stay peace.